Right. So as a mentioned in our testing process, test plan is one of the important document that is prepared by either QA manager or senior test engineer in the team or a test lead. Any one of the person will prepare that test plan document. So what is this document? Test plan document has going to have objectives, scope, approach, and a focus on the testing effort. So how much time you need to perform the testing, so what you will test, what you are not going to test, what is your methodologies you will follow to test the application, and all basically the test related things will be available in the test plan document. So test plan document is basically overall testing efforts, testing how to do, when to do, where to do will come. So on what application you are testing, who will test, what will test. So all this will be included in this test plan document. So this is a base for us. And for any testing activity, and even outside people also can understand, okay, this test plan belongs to particular project. So who are all involved? So what activities they are doing, how they are performing, that you can find in this test plan document. So test plan will make you to understand what are the goals and objectives of the customers and stakeholders and the project. So any risks are there, it will be addressed in this test plan document. We will mention any risks are there. Even outside people also can easily understand why the testing is going on and who is doing, how the product is validated, and is it only manual testing or automation testing also there, and what type of testings you are performing, what kind of techniques you are following, what tools you are using, everything included in this test plan document. So that's a test plan means. So there is a test policy. What is a test policy? Test policy is going to give the rules for testing. So like reviewing the test case document, that's a rule. You have to follow that. That's what test policy means. Once you prepare the test case document, review that. So your team member or so technical reviews will happen on the test case document. So our design documents will be reviewed by people. That's the rules. Then what is a test strategy? A test strategy is an overall high-level approach. Example is system testing is carried out by the independent testing team reporting to the one QA manager, right? So one manager will be there, under that team will be there. So they will so follow the process. They will perform the testing on the given application environment. So what are the different contents of a test plan document? So you are preparing a test plan, what content will be there? So these are the content about the client and company. About the client and company, they will explain in this document. Okay, who is the client and who is doing this project, and that will be there. And reference documents, like which documents you are using to test, like FRS document, use case documents, user interfaces, all this reference documents will be mentioned with the version. Okay, what date they have provided, what is the document name, and so what is the current version, all will be mentioned here. in the reference document section with the table. All the documents they will mention in that. Scope. So what to be tested, what not to be tested. That's the scope. So you cannot test, security testing or functional performance testing because you are a functional tester. Because you are a functional tester, you're not going to test the other things. So overview of the application. So they will explain about the application. Overview, what this application is doing, what is the purpose of this application, you will given here. So testing approach. So what is your testing approach? How you will perform the testing? Which methodologies you will follow? Which techniques you will follow? What type of testings you will do? So that will be given by this field. So for each testing, what are the testings you are performing? That when you can start that, when you can stop that. The start criteria and stop criteria. For example, if you want to do a component testing, so developers must finish the unit testing and hand over to testing team. So that's a start criteria. Stop criteria means, so when you will stop the testing. So when all your test cases are executed and bugs, so you found and they rectified, then you can stop the testing. The budget is depleted and the release timelines are completed, then you will stop the testing. So that's the stop criteria for when you will start, when you will end. So resources and roles and responsibilities. So this is the important points. If you want, you can make it a note. As a tester, what is your role? Role is, maybe you can say you are a senior test engineer or a test engineer. That's your role. But what is your responsibility? So the responsibilities of any tester is, from beginning to till end, all these points you have to explain anywhere. First, read and understand the requirements. First point. Second point, if you have any queries, discuss with the business analyst or product owner or product manager or development team. Any one of them, you discuss and get them clarified. And attend the daily meetings and give your update. Then design the test cases based on the functional requirement document or user stories if it is agile process. Once designing the test case are done, ask somebody to review your test cases. You have to send a mail. I have completed writing the test cases. Can you please review my test cases? Please provide approval. And they will ask to set up a meeting. You will set up a meeting and discuss each and every test case one by one, and they will give approval. If any comments are there, so you will note down and you will check that. Next, once the test case reviewed, then you will prepare the environment, and on that environment, the latest code will be deployed. All the latest code that are developed, unit tested by the development team, and they will deploy or you will deploy. Anyone will deploy on the environments. Then you will get the environment. Then you will start doing a first smoke testing you will perform, or build verification testing you will perform. Build verification testing, you will do that. What is build verification testing or smoke testing? Your just initial basic check. So whether the build is testable or not, whether the build is stable to take it further testing or not. That's what you will do. Then you will execute the test cases one by one, and if any test case fails, you will report the defect tracking tools. So once all the test cases are executed, you will continue the same process. Then the developer will fixes the bugs and he will send back to you to retest those fixed bugs. In the retesting process, so you will use the updated build, but the same steps you will follow, same test case steps you will follow, same test data you will use, but in the bug reporting, you will write a detailed steps, right? Those steps you will use to test it again. Retesting is nothing but first time it failed and corrected after correcting the code, you are testing. So you are testing back. So that's what you are doing. So that's what so you are going to do. And next, you will perform one round of regression testing. You will perform one round of regression testing. Once the regression testing is over, you will sign out. That's your responsibilities anywhere, right? So this is the, as a tester, these all responsibilities as testing process. Again, I repeated the testing process. If any you are a senior member, you will provide the KT sessions for the new members are joining in your team. You will help them. You can take up that also as a one responsibility for you. And if automation is there, you will start designing the automation test cases. These are the responsibilities for any tester. It's a generic points and defect definition. Defect definition means, so what kind of defects you are filing? Like you have a blocker bugs, critical bugs, major bugs, minor bugs. So these are the kind of category of bugs will be there. So which kind of bugs will now treat it as a blocker and critical. So all this you have to define that in this defect definition. So they will define, you don't need to worry about that. The project manager or your who is writing this document, they will take care of this. So this is a very important risk contingency and mitigation plan. All these key points are very important. Sometimes in the interview, they will ask, what are the risks you will face in the project? What are the alternative plans you made to cope up with that risk? So risks are many kind of risk will come, right? So the first risk is, so the development team has given a build very late to you and you are not able to finish the testing. That's a risk. You have to know in advance, raise an alarm saying that, so there are bugs and we are still testing, so we cannot finish the testing, so we have to be very cautious and before releasing the product. So that's a risk you have to tell. Then what you need to do, either you postpone the release or you increase more resources there to finish the testing as early as possible. That's a one risk is there. So how you can cope up with that? Contingency means alternative plan. Mitigation means how you can reduce that risk. Risk is nothing but unexpected event. So we don't know when it will come, but that risk comes, how you can handle, how you can reduce that risk. So adding the more resources and training the other resources also on particular area, so that one person is not attending, the other person will take care of that. This is all preparing the shadow resources. If one person is not attending, that's a risk and testing is stopped, right? So how you can so mitigate that? Preparing a shadow resource. That means another resource also having the knowledge on the particular module. Suppose Venkatesh is working on M1 model, Josna is working on M2 model, and Lavanya is working on M3 model, and M4 model Swati is working. So many people are working different models, but you don't know about other models. So instead of that, what they will do, they will train you on other modules also knowledge. So that one person is absent, other person will take care of that. That is the, if there is a risk, that how they will mitigate the risks. So second risk I told you, the person not attending to the office, the team member. Then so alternative is, so one more resource you, so either recruit or you so prepare a shadow resource. The shadow resources are, he has already worked, how you can cope with the two works. Somehow you have to handle until you get the new resource. Until you get the new resource. So existing resources should share the work and doing that. So that's the kind of risk. And another third risk is your application is your environment is down and not able to restore. Then the time will kill, right? Then how we can handle that? You can handle preparing the one more environment. If one environment is not working, you prepare another environment or ask the DevOps team to look into that issue, why the apps are going down and what is the reason. They will take care. So that's how you will know. Immediately they have to act. If environment is not available, you cannot test it. So these are all the risks are there. You will lose the time and you will you cannot finish the testing. So this is a very important points you need to remember. So training required. Suppose you are in the manual testing, and so your team decided to go for automation. Then so you can ask, I need a training on this automation. We don't know. So then they will provide a training to you on the automation. Or some other. So you are using in your testing, you don't know about that. You can ask. So I want a training on this. I don't know how to use this. You can ask, and that they will ask you to upgrade. They will provide the training to you guys. Then schedules. So schedules means basically when to start testing, when to end the testing, the release date, and the testing start time, setting end time, they will give in the schedules section. Clearly they will tell, okay, test case designing, you have to take only 1 day, and review should be another day. So they will say 2 days you have to finish the test case designing, reviewing. And then actual testing will start on this day. You have to finish this date. And regression testing you need to finish. End-to-end testing you have to finish. So all this you have to give it timelines when you will finish all this type of testings. That's a schedules means. So schedules is a very important component in the test plan document. Then what are the final deliverables? For any project, there will be deliverables. That is a very important. All these are called test plan content. Test plan document contains all these things. Then what is the difference between test plan and a test strategy? A test plan, as I mentioned, a test plan is a document which describes the scope, objective, so approach, and mainly focus on software testing effort. Whereas test strategy is a set of guidelines that explains test design and determines how testing needs to be done. That's a test strategy, a very high level approach. So the components of test plan, as I mentioned, test plan ID and scope, objectives, and resources, roles and responsibilities, and So what are the testing needs, test deliverables, responsibilities, schedules, all this will be there. The components of test strategy is, so objectives, scope, documentation formats, the test process, team reporting structure, client communication strategy. These are things will be there in the test strategy document. Test plan is carried out by testing manager. So that explains how to test, when to test, who will test, and what to test. Test strategy is carried out by project manager. It says what type of technique you need to follow and which module to test. So what is the formats of your test documents, or you can say simply test artifacts. Test plan narrates about the specification. Test strategy narrates about the general approaches. Test plan can change from project to project, but test strategy cannot be changed. It's a template basically. Test strategy is a template for an entire company. But test plan is for each project, test plan will vary. So test plan is done to determine possible issues and dependencies in order to identify the risks. So test strategy is, it's a long-term plan of action. You can abstract the information that is not project specific and put it into test approach. So test plan exists individual projects, but test strategy is sometimes it's part of test plan also. Test plan is defined at project level, but test strategy is set at organization level. Organization level will set that test strategy. All other projects will be followed the same test strategy. That's all about test plan and test strategy.